In today's video, we're going to be talking all about swing plane. I'm going to show you a really simple exercise to get you into your natural swing plane that's going to feel so much easier for you to be able to take to the golf course. Stay tuned for more info. Welcome back to the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me, Jon Watts, today at Branston Golf and Country Club. Today's video is all going to be about a natural swing plane. So a lot of people are working on this. They're working on whether they're swinging more upright, swinging flatter, whether they're changing direction at all in the swing. So I guess I'm talking about this in a sort of 2D format. Of course, the swing plane is actually in a 3D movement, but we're normally thinking about a line that we're swinging up on and a line that we're swinging down on. Are we going on the same line? Are we changing lines and going steeper to shallower, shallower to steeper? I'm going to show you a really simple way just to get into your natural swing plane from your posture. So this would be relevant with any golf club. I'm just going to demonstrate it here with a mid-iron. But I'm going to do both in a second, so talking about when I get into a driver in just a second. So I'm going to put a ball down that I'm going to be setting up to. And I'm going to put another ball or another marker, could be a tee peg, 2 feet past the golf ball. And those who have watched my channel before may well have seen this exercise before, but this is a fantastic one to really work on your shoulders working correctly. So what should happen is as I swing back, my lead shoulder, my left shoulder for me as a right-handed golfer, should be moving down and a little bit in front of me. What does that do with my trail shoulder? It moves up and a little bit behind me. The same thing that happens with my hips. Now my hips aren't rotating as much as my shoulders, but they're definitely working on the same way. They're not just turning, they're working on a tilted axis. And it's dictated by my spine angle at setup. And that's what this drill is so good at doing and helping us find our natural swing plane. So where my lead arm is going to be in the backswing. So what I'm doing is putting that ball, the second marker, 2 feet away. I'm going to stand the right distance away for the golf ball that I would be hitting, and then I'm simply going to hold the club shaft high across my shoulders. So I want it level. I get some people holding it at a wonky angle. Try and get it level, try and get it really high in your shoulders here. So that's what I'm looking for, and I'm going to clamp that in with my hands across my shoulders. I'm going to get into golf posture, focusing on the golf ball, and I'm going to be simply coiling back. So my lead shoulder is moving down and in front of me, and what I'm trying to get at the top of the backswing is the end of the grip pointing at that second golf ball, that marker that is 2 feet, to remember, away from this golf ball here. So the right distance from this golf ball, club high on shoulders, in golf posture, focusing on the ball that we'd be hitting. Slowly coil back, my lead shoulder is moving down in front of me. You will see that this is pointing down pretty close to that golf ball. Now, if I stretch my lead arm out from that position, that will give me my natural swing plane. Now, I like to see the lead arm almost at right angles to our spine angles. So if I get in my setup position again and I draw some lines on me here, so let me do that drill one more time, focusing on the golf ball I'll be hitting, slowly coil back. This is pointing down at that outside golf ball. If I stretch my lead arm away from me, keeping that spine angle, that would be my natural lead arm position or my swing plane at the top of the backswing. That has got my trail elbow bent quite close to my body. It feels very coiled. It feels like my lead arm is almost dissecting my trail shoulder, which is a really good checkpoint if you're looking in the mirror, is trying to get that lead arm through your shoulder. Now there are plenty of good players. If you look at Justin Thomas, for instance, he'll get his lead arm higher than that on the backswing and change position. And I guess a more extreme version of that would be Jim Furyk, or a very good college player, Matthew Wolff, who featured in the Phoenix Open about a month back with what looks like a more unusual movement, so a much higher backswing and a real change in direction. You can do it and you can generate some power from there. And I have filmed a video about steeper back to shallower down, and if we're going to be either way, that would be my preference. What I don't like seeing as much of is shallow flat back and steep down. So if we're going to go either way, I prefer our arms to be higher in the backswing and change direction. And we can generate some speed from there. But what I'm talking about in this video is making your natural swing plane. If you are someone who's struggling, suffering with this, fighting which way you're trying to go, let's just try and get you in an easy position where the top of the backswing is making the downswing easier to repeat. So that natural swing plane is dictated by my tilt of my spine here and my shoulders. So if I get my shoulder plane correctly, this lead shoulder moving down and in front of me, so it's pointing down towards the outside golf ball, all I'm really having to do is stretch my lead arm out away from me, and it really feels very connected and very coiled where I'm making a great backswing position. Now, if I did it with a driver, the setup would be the same. I'm keeping the 2 feet. I am further away from the golf ball because I am using a longer golf club. So I'm further away from the ball, but the gap there is still 2 feet. So if I do the same exercise, there is a slightly different shoulder plane with the driver because it's a longer golf club, because my hands will just be a touch higher. I'm further away from that golf ball. I keep the marker still personally at that 2 feet. Still try and get that grip to point down, but that has changed my shoulder plane slightly. So with a driver, I don't mind seeing a slightly more rounded swing than we'd see with an iron, and that's really because of the length of the golf club. But the drill I'm doing here is the same. I've got that 2 foot gap. So once I've found that, I'll do it with a driver. Once I've found that, it's just a case of repeating. So let me rehearse that exercise again and then try and put it into a movement. So if I was setting up to this golf ball, and I'm going to go ahead and hit one, so I'll pop a glove on. It's a great exercise to do on the range or the practice area. Right distance from the ball, club high and shoulders. Coil back, so this is pointing down towards that golf ball. If I stretch my lead arm out, that's going to give me a very natural swing plane where it feels easier to return that club to the right position. If I get my backswing correct, it's much easier to get the downswing correct. So I'm going to go ahead and hit one. Having felt that position, I might just rehearse that backswing again slowly, trying to get to a similar position with my lead arm at the top before I go ahead and try and pull the trigger on a shot. That felt very easy. It felt like my arms were very much connected to what my shoulders were doing. So this lead shoulder moving down in front of me. I know if you can get the shoulder plane correct, that's really going to help you where your lead arm gets to the top of the backswing, which is affecting your swing plane and your swing path. As I said, if you were going to go either way, I'd prefer it to be a little higher on the way back and shallower on the downswing rather than the opposite. All that really matters is impact. So if you can get to a very good position here, here and here, it doesn't matter. Look at that Matthew Wolff that I mentioned, the college player in the States, and you will see a real change of direction. And yes, it looks funky, but if he can get that club into the right position through impact where it really matters, that is all we care about. So if you are not struggling with your swing path, if you're turning on a very good angle, then don't worry about it. But if you are struggling, if you're fighting whether you need to go upright, whether you need to go flat, that simple exercise with the ball 2 feet away there, working on your shoulder plane is actually going to affect your shoulder tilt is going to affect your swing plane. If you did enjoy that content video, if it has helped you, make sure you hit the thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel for all the other content every Tuesday and Thursday, as well as some Saturday specials.